3 very long years of waiting for this moment, and it is finally here. I could scream right now. I am so happy about this trailer. I don't think all of you realize how much this means to me. Captain America is my favorite character ever, and I have been eagerly anticipating this day since the movie was announced all the way back in 2021. Brave New World's first trailer dropped earlier today, and I've been losing my mind ever since. I've probably watched this, no joke, like 20 times already. There is so much interesting stuff here that I want to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and just jump into it, because oh my god, this movie looks insane, guys. It's shaping up to be all I ever wanted and more out of a Captain America film with Sam as the lead. We are truly in for another peak political thriller. Before we dive into the big questions, because there are a lot, I just want to get a few miscellaneous thoughts out of the way and just kind of go over my overall thoughts on the trailer real quick. Like, first of all, the Winter Soldier vibes are really strong in this. I know that for like every grounded Marvel project that's came out over the last few years, people always say, oh, it's like the next Captain America, the Winter Soldier. But this genuinely looks to be that in the sense of tone, in the sense of storytelling. This really looks to be diving into that political thriller aspect of the character, where you see Sam Wilson at the forefront going against a government conspiracy. And instead of going against some rogue government organization, he's fighting the actual president this time. Like, you cannot get more political than that, and I am loving it. There's nothing more American than having him fight the president and throwing hands with this man, so I love that idea already. It's off to a great start there. Also, they have that gorgeous white suit there. I'm so glad. Obviously, he has that new costume, which is clean. I like it a lot. It's growing on me the more I see it, but you cannot get better than that white Captain America costume. It is my favorite costume of all time, as you can tell from my suit ranking video I did a few months back, and I am just in love with that suit. I know it was going to be in the movie a little bit based on those set photos we saw, but when they did reshoots a few months ago, they actually have a whole sequence of him wearing it, so I'm just glad to see it represented here because it is gorgeous. It also looks like Sam is going to be doing a hallway fight at some point in the movie, which I'm really excited for. Marvel hallway fights always hit, and especially because the rumor is that the director was directly inspired by Daredevil here, so that's always a good thing, because Daredevil set a high bar for hallway fights and superhero projects, so if we're getting anything like that, it's going to be peak. I also love that we're going to see Sam just with the shield, showing how capable he is on his own as a hand-to-hand combatant. I feel like we haven't really seen that a lot in the MCU because he's always been flying around with his wings or using guns, but now that he stepped up to this role as Captain America, we can see him kind of show his skills as a hand-to-hand fighter, which is really good. It's going to go a long way in reminding people how capable he is and that he doesn't need the serum at all, because his whole character arc is not needing to be a super soldier. So me personally, I'm really excited to see that sequence. It looks like it's going to be incredible. And if you look right over here, you can see that they snuck the leader's big dumb green head into the trailer. He's a little bit hidden. He's got a hat on. He's shot from the back, so we can't fully see it. And in this shot here, you only see his hand. So they're still hiding his appearance. Probably going to save that for the movie or for the second trailer when they actually get into the story elements of the movie. But I like this tease right here because you can see the textures in the back of his head, and it's going for this more grotesque look, which I like a lot. He's not just this guy with green skin and a big ass forehead. He actually has this more of monster-esque look, which I really like. You can see that the deformity has really done a number on him. He's also still self-conscious in the way he looks, as you can tell by him covering up so much. So I think that's a really nice take on the character, and I'm really interested to see how he fits in the movie, because I feel like even as someone who's chronically online and knows way too much about this movie already, I still have no clue how he fits into the story. I have a lot of theories, which we're going to get to, but not knowing anything officially is really exciting to me. Also, just to mention, I really like that cherry blossom aesthetic they're going for in the trailer. We never really see that a lot, and it's not what I would have expected for a Captain America movie, but I think it's a nice vibe we have not seen in the MCU before. It just stands out, which is always something you want in these movies, and I don't know, I just gotta appreciate the vibes here. Alright, the whole movie looks gorgeous. There's some unfinished shots in the trailer. You can see some shots are a little iffy, but never judge a movie by its first trailer because they're still working on it, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt here. With how much this movie has had to go through, by all means, they can take as much time as they need to finish it. We're still 7 months out from this, by the way. I'm shocked we got the trailer this early, because usually Marvel likes to hold out until the last minute, but we actually got this, and it looks great. And of course, the big moment in the trailer we all have to talk about is that they actually showed the Red Hulk. Like, that's the Red Hulk right there. I didn't know if they were going to dance around it. We already got a leak through like McDonald's toys, so I'm happy they just went out and showed everybody. It's going to get people more hyped for this movie, which is what we need to see, and I'm just really excited to see Harrison Ford in the MCU, because you know how crazy that is, that it's Harrison Ford, the Harrison Ford, who's going to have a big role in the MCU. That is so exciting to me. He could be an all-time comic book movie villain if they handle it correctly, and I'm just so thrilled and pumped that he's in here. I could run through a wall right now after seeing that ending. Like, God, please be gentle on Sam, though. Oh, God. The fight's going to be crazy to see, but I'm just hoping he doesn't break my boy. boy. And I know a lot of people are wondering, how is Sam gonna stand any chance against the Red Hulk, because he's the Hulk and Sam's just a normal guy. But what people don't know is that the Red Hulk has a few major weaknesses that Sam could easily exploit in their fight, and it'll show why Sam is such a great fit for Captain America, because he's smart, he's crafty. He can get the Red Hulk reeling just by exploiting those weaknesses that people aren't talking about enough. Wolverine and the Punisher have both held their own against him by stabbing him and making him bleed out a lot, and Sam has a history of using those wings to stab people, so boom, right there, that's one way he can easily hold his own against him. And also, the Red Hulk's greatest strength could be considered a weakness, as the angrier he gets, the hotter he gets. So at a certain point, that's helpful when he's actually radiating this heat that makes it hard to attack him, but when he gets too hot, it gets too dangerous for him, and it makes him become a lot weaker. So the longer Sam just stays in the fight and doing it all day, Ross is going to become more vulnerable over time, which is an easy way for him to fight him. So I just think we need to acknowledge that more, because a lot of people have a bad understanding of how this fight is going to go down. But that's enough of my miscellaneous little thoughts for now. I could talk about every little detail of this trailer all day long. Let's jump into the big questions I have coming out of this trailer as we go into the movie in a few months. Starting out from the beginning of the trailer, when they have General Ross saying that he wants Captain America to be an official military position, which is a big question for me of wondering why he wants that, because him and Sam have never seen eye to eye, going back to Civil War. So I think the big answer to that is that it's all about control. The government wanted John Walker to be Captain America, and we all saw how that ended up. So I think now that Sam has taken on being Captain America like Steve wanted, and he's going against the government's wishes, and he is becoming the Captain America, as he should be, I think he wants to have Captain America under his thumb still. He doesn't want there to be this rogue person going around and doing things with the American flag on him if he, the president, isn't in charge. So it's all about control for him. He wants to be able to make Sam do what he wants and still work under these political agendas. And now obviously Sam's not going to want to do that. It's basically miniature Sokovia Accords all over again. And that's why they have that beef going back to Civil War in the first place, because Sam defied the Sokovia Accords. So to me, it seems like Ross is just trying to find a new way to get this control over superheroes, and he's starting with Captain America by making him this official position where he has to go by the book and he can't just act on his own accord like Steve had been doing for years. Captain America is someone who sticks up for the little guy as a champion of the oppressed. So as much as Ross wants him to be this poster child of the government, that's not what Sam's going to do. So I think you're going to have that tension there from the start where Ross is really trying to push Sam to be something he's not. And I think that's going to make for some great conflict. It's a very natural way to get these two characters against each other. Also, I just love the line where Ross said that he had to lose the mustache or lose the election. It's a funny way to acknowledge the casting in a meta way, while also explaining why Harrison Ford didn't want to keep the mustache, because it's Harrison Ford. If he doesn't want to wear a mustache in the movie, you're going to tell Harrison Ford no? I'm not gonna. That man would kill me with his bare hands. Also, I just can't wait to see the press tour for this movie and have Harrison have to answer these questions, knowing that they had to explain the Red Hulk to him if he has any idea what's going on. He's just the funniest person ever. Alright, up next, maybe the biggest question out of the entire trailer is what's going on with Isaiah Bradley. At the start of the trailer, we see him kind of get up and start shooting at the president, which comes out of nowhere. You gotta wonder, how did he even get a gun in here? What's going on? Why is he doing this all of a sudden? Because he went from being a recluse hiding away in his home to now he's finally getting the respect he deserved from the country after Sam got that museum exhibit built for him, to now him going and shooting the president. It just doesn't line up, and I think it's obvious here that he's being mind controlled in some way. I think the obvious thing to guess is that it's Hydra brainwashing, similar to what happened to the Winter Soldier. We know from the series that Isaiah said he was experimented on and tortured, so it's possible that maybe it's Hydra brainwashing from when Hydra was still in S.H.I.E.L.D., and maybe there's these Hydra sleeper cells that are maybe trying to get Isaiah to kill Ross, to destroy the country. You know how Hydra always is, those guys. Not a fan of them. I'll be the first to say it, I'm against Hydra. But I think my theory here is that the leader is controlling him, and that Ross is in on it, and he's trying to paint black soldiers as the villains here to try and turn the public against Sam in some way. So you take Isaiah Bradley, who just came out to the public as this war hero, and you immediately paint him as a villain, it would do really big harm to Sam. But I just think it'll be really interesting to see how he kind of combats that, and it could make for an interesting angle to where Isaiah has the public turned against him and Sam as Ross is trying to manipulate everything. It could go any way, really. It's one of the things from the trailer that I wasn't expecting, just seeing Isaiah in this light, but I do think it's obvious that no matter who's behind it, we can tell he's being brainwashed by someone. Please, free my man. Let him out. He does not deserve this. Another big question I have coming out of this trailer is whose funeral is that? We've seen it a little bit in set photos that I'll get into spoilers a little bit later on, and 2 brief glimpses of it in the trailer, but there's this mystery funeral going on seemingly, and it's going to be a huge point of contention trying to figure out who dies in this movie. I think the obvious guess is to go for Steve Rogers, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier left his fate off very ambiguously, saying he's on the moon, and we don't know where he is up to this point. So I think the easy thing to guess is that it's Steve's funeral. He gives him this send-off in another Captain America movie, kind of in a way that Peggy Carter have died in Civil War and that motivated Steve. Maybe Steve dies in this movie and that helps motivate Sam a little bit more to stand up to Ross. But I don't think that's going to be it. I do think we might see Steve in this movie a little bit, just kind of give that character closure, because we never really got that in a sense. I don't think it's a big deal if he's not. I don't think you need him here. He would definitely overshadow Sam, which you don't want. So personally, I think that this isn't a real funeral at all. I think that General Ross is going to fake his death to become the Red Hulk. That whole conspiracy theory thing I was talking about earlier with the leader working with Ross, I think what's going to happen is that Ross is going to have the leader mind control Isaiah to have Isaiah quote-unquote assassinate him. That goes and paints Isaiah as a villain. Then you basically have Sam and Joaquin going through that facility that they tortured Isaiah at to try and uncover the truth of what happened there. Meanwhile, Ross quote-unquote is dead, and he's out there trying to become the Red Hulk. I don't know why he will in this movie though, which is really interesting me. It's been confirmed that Mark Ruffalo is not going to appear in the film, so that makes me wonder, why does he want to become the Hulk? In the comics, he did it as this last resort where he could finally fight the Hulk one-on-one, becoming the very thing he swore to destroy, and then finding sympathy in it once he walks a mile in the Hulk's shoes. But here he's just fighting a Birdman, which is totally overkill. So that's the one part of this theory I haven't quite cracked yet. Maybe I'll do another video on it down the line once I figure the whole thing out. But I do think 100% it is Ross faking his own death here. And spoilers ahead for the set photos in 3, 2, 1. Liv Tyler is obviously back as Betty Ross in this movie. We see her at a funeral on those set photos, which makes me tie 2 and 2 together. Why else would she be in this movie if not mourning her father? So I think that's very easy to put together and try and figure out that, yeah, this is Ross faking his death to go do Red Hulk shenanigans and be a bit of a menace to Sam. Another big question a few people might have that I'm only going to talk about quickly because I made a whole video on it that you should go and watch is, who is Giancarlo Esposito playing? I've got my own theories. The leaked idea is that he's playing a character named George Washington Bridge, which is the silliest name ever. But, I mean, look at this guy. He's got unlimited aura. So, I mean, he's making it work. Good for Giancarlo. He's just a beast. I'm really excited to see him in this movie, to finally have him join the MCU. It's also really impressive that they shot this less than a month ago with the reshoots, and they already have it in the trailer. And it looks great, like with the color grading and just the action scenes, the finished VFX. So, round of applause for everybody working on this movie to get those scenes finished in time for this. But yeah, if you want to hear my full thoughts on his character, there's a video right here you can click on. Go watch it after this video, though, because I have a lot more to say here. But I just wanted to acknowledge that so it didn't seem like I was ignoring things. But yeah, really excited for Giancarlo. Go watch my video later, please. As for the next big question coming out of this trailer, let me just flat out answer it right away. Yes, that is the Celestial in the ocean from the end of Eternals. They're finally coming back around in this movie to address that, as it's going to play a major role in the film. The rumor is here. I'll give you a few seconds if you want to skip ahead, like 30 seconds. But the idea is that this Celestial is going to be made of adamantium, and there's going to be a resource war as different countries are fighting over, and Sam is at the center trying to ease tensions between the countries. I think it's great that they're finally addressing this again. I know a lot of people have been really annoying online saying that Marvel made a Celestial in the ocean, just stopped addressing it. This movie was supposed to be out a year ago. They've been planning to address it less than 2 years after Eternals released. So people just need to be patient and give things a break, because you're going to see this really cool aerial combat scene as Sam is flying around the Celestial in the ocean. It's going to make for some great visuals, and see that precious metal introduced in the MCU, which has a lot of implications that I'm sure you can all think about with Wolverine and such. But I'm just really happy to see it finally being brought up again. I think it's going to make for some great action scenes, first and foremost, and help expand on the world building of the MCU. And the final question I want to touch on in this video is, what is the purpose of Sam's new costume? We've seen a lot in set photos and official stills released and now in the trailer, but they don't give us a clear answer except for a few frames at the end. That seems to be that this is going to be sort of a high-speed flight suit for Sam. His white suit is built more for hand-to-hand combat, while this one is built for more high-speed travel. You see him wearing that really cool mask at the end of the film, which I think is going to be great, and it's going to allow for some Top Gun-esque dogfights with Sam and his wings going against actual fighter planes, which, if handled correctly, could be some of the coolest action scenes in any comic book movie. But I also do have a conspiracy theory here that this costume isn't just for tactical reasons, and there's a thematic significance to it as well. At the end of the trailer, we hear Ross comparing Sam and Steve against each other, and I think that a huge theme of this movie is going to be Sam dealing with public scrutiny as people lambast him for not being Steve Rogers, and they want him to be something he's not. I think Ross is going to force Sam to wear this new costume to act more like Steve, and to give the public a more familiar Captain America look. It's going to add into the themes of this legacy, as Sam realizes by the end of it that it's not worth listening to Ross, and he gets back his old costume. With what we've seen so far in the trailer, I think it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Ross is trying to make Sam something that he's not, and force him to be Steve Rogers when Sam is his own person. The interaction between them at the end of the trailer goes so hard, and I hope that they're going to really lean to how Sam is his own amazing character, because he's my favorite hero right now. He means the world to me. I am such a big Captain America fan, so I really am excited to see this movie lean into what makes him special and give people a reason to appreciate Sam even more, because he's such a well-written character and has had to go through these different struggles of being a black man taking up the shield and what that means for not just him but the country in these tensions today. So I think having Ross kind of act as this audience surrogate for those toxic people who are trying to tell them that Sam is never going to be Steve Rogers and Sam is trying to appease people by putting on this costume, but that's not who he is. Sam Wilson is Sam Wilson, and he needs to be himself, that Louisiana man, as he fights for the little people and the betterment of the country. I think there's a really good story in there, and if they just embrace the thematic elements of the movie, we could get an all-timer that is not just a political thriller. It's not just a superhero movie, but some great commentary on how hard it is to be a black man in America today. Or maybe it's just for high-speed flights. You know, that's probably more likely, but I live for this theorizing stuff. This is so much fun to me, to just pick apart little details and try and give it my own meaning before inevitably looking like the biggest idiot on the planet for getting it all wrong. With Deadpool and Wolverine around the corner and 2 great trailers this week alone, Marvel fans are finally out of the trenches and we are thriving once again. I need to go rewatch this trailer for the rest of my life, I think, so I'm gonna end the video there. Please do let me know what you all think in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what everyone has to say and just nerd out over this insanely cool trailer. So if you want to see more videos like this, you can click right here, and make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you don't do it, they're going to delay and reshoot this movie again, and that'll be my breaking point, so please subscribe and save me from my impending insanity.